In this video, you're going to learn how to do this smooth zoom transition directly inside of Premiere Pro. This is done without any plugins, and after you've made it once, you can just copy and paste it again and again. And we can even reverse the direction so it zooms out between the clips. So without further ado, let's jump into Premiere Pro. Okay, so we're inside of Premiere Pro and I've got my two clips in the timeline. These are two 10-second clips that are slow motion clips. One is of me surfing, and then the other one is me doing a jump on a dirt bike. So first things first, get your clips into the timeline. And if your clips are already in the timeline, just bring your playhead to the point of where the transition will happen. And we're gonna add an adjustment layer here. So we head down to this new item button and we can click that and we can select adjustment layer. And we're happy with these settings, so just hit OK. And we can see down here in our project panel, there is a new adjustment layer that's just popped up. So by clicking and dragging, we can bring that into the timeline. So right now we need to make this adjustment layer 30 frames long. And then we're gonna split that down the middle to make two 15-second adjustment layers. So first of all, with your playhead exactly lined up on the adjoining parts of your clips, we can then hold Shift and press the left-hand arrow key and it'll jump exactly 5 frames. So press it 3 times and it'll jump 5 frames, 5 frames, 5 frames. And now we can just readjust this side to line up there. And we know this half is 15 frames. So let's go back to the middle. There we go. And now let's do 15 frames the other way. So 1, 2, 3. We can click and drag, and we know that both of these halves are going to be 15 frames long. And by pressing C on our keyboard, we're going to swap to the cut tool, and we'll just do a cut perfectly down the middle and split that there. We now have two blank adjustment layers, 15 frames either side of the transition part. Now, next we're going to add the transform effect. So head up to your effects panel. Mine is up here on the right, but if you can't see yours, just go to window and just make sure effects is actually checked. In the effects panel, we're going to look for transform. We can see it's this one here. And let's drop and drag that onto the left-hand adjustment layer. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to keyframe the scale to go from 100% scale to 200% scale. So we're working on the zoom in part of the first clip. So now that we've added transform, we can see it's been added here on the left-hand side, and we can adjust the keyframes accordingly. So bring your playhead to the beginning of the clip and then select the stopwatch icon next to scale. And this is going to put a keyframe down in the timeline. There we go. So we pressed it and we can see it's added a keyframe here. Now what we'll do is we'll shuffle this playhead along, not quite to the end, but just about 1 or 2 frames from the end. And now go down to where it says 100 next to the scale, and let's increase that to 200. So now between keyframe A and keyframe B, the scale will increase from 100 to 200. So this is the first half of the transition. So that doesn't look too bad, but it's very linear and doesn't look very smooth at the moment. So the first thing we can do is we can add some motion blur. So go down to where it says use compositions shutter angle. We don't want that, so uncheck that. And we're gonna type in a number here. This range is from 1 to 360. So 360 is the most motion blur you can have. 0 is no motion blur. And we're gonna just sit down the middle at 180. Now you can come back to this number and adjust it if you think more or less motion blur works better for your scenario. But to take an average, 180 is a pretty solid number to go with. So we can see just from typing that number in, 0, there's no motion blur, 180, there's a little bit of motion blur, and then 360, there's a lot of motion blur. For this example, let's just stick with 180. So now we've got the zoom in and we've got some motion blur. Let's give this a watch. Okay. So now let's add more of a natural curve to these keyframes. It's a very linear motion of zoom. So by highlighting both the keyframes, and we can press on this drop-down menu here, we can see the motion is a very linear straight line. So it all just goes at the same speed, which is okay, but we can definitely make it look better. So by right-clicking, we can select ease in, and we can right-click again and click ease out. And now that's added a bit of a smooth curve to the graph instead. We want this to look like a ramp going up, like a steep ramp up towards the right-hand side. So first, click on the little circle at the end of this line, click, and we're gonna drag that to the right, and really try and keep that as straight as possible. Don't bring it up or don't bring it down because it's gonna mess up the curve. Keep it perfectly in line and make it touch the blue dot. It might take a couple goes to do that. Just hit Command Z or Control Z if you mess that up. And then we're gonna do the same with the other one. We're gonna click and we're gonna drag it to the right. You can see here, go along. And now we've got a bit of a curved ramp up. And this basically is saying that this zoom is gonna start slow, but it's gonna get really fast towards the end of this adjustment layer. And we're gonna do the opposite for the other adjustment layer so that the fastest point of the transition is exactly in the middle part where the two clips connect. And that way it's gonna blend the smoothest because it's gonna be the fastest with the most motion blur. So you can see here, it speeds up a lot. And now what we need to do is just click on this keyframe and we're going to click and move it to the right, just so that when we scrub through it, we don't see a part like this that has no motion blur. That means that we've zoomed in and then we've stopped before the end of the transition. So just click on it again, move it again to the right, and fingers crossed as it goes like this. And there we have it. So the first half of the transition is complete. Now we're basically going to do the same thing, but for the next clip. There's a slight twist on this one, and that is we don't want the clip to go from 100 to 200% because then we're going to be stuck looking at this clip really zoomed in. We don't want that. We want to finish the transition with this being the framing. How do we go about that? Well, with the right hand adjustment layer selected, we're going to add an effect called replicate. Click there, and we're going to drop and drag it onto the right hand clip. And this is going to create a grid of images. We want the grid to be 3 by 3. So change the count number here to 3. Select that, press number 3, and we have a grid of 9 photos. And now we're going to add a mirror effect, which is going to essentially allow us to keep this grid but remove these harsh lines. And this is going to be our starting point for the zoom. So bear with me, this will all fall into place in just 2 seconds. So now we go to mirror, and we drop and drag the mirror effect onto this clip here. And we can click on the mirror effect and we can copy and paste it. So we have a total of 4 mirror effects. So we click on it once and we can hit Control C or Command C, and then we can hit Command V, which will be, so that's copy, and then Command V will be paste. So Command V, 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 and then you should be left with 4 of the same effect. Now this top one here, we are not changing the reflection angle. We are just going to adjust the x-axis first. So click on this number and we're going to drag it to the left. And you'll see here that the reflection starts to come in from the right hand side. And we're going to line this up so that that line, that harsh line that we don't want to see anymore, just about disappears. There we go. So that's the point there. And then we let go. Fantastic. First one is done. And then the second one, we're going to change the reflection angle to be 180, which means the mirror is going to come in from the other side. Don't worry that the screen's gone blank. It just means that the mirror is off the screen. So we're going to move this left-hand number to the left. So just scrub across. We're going to lower this down. And as we move this across, we want to line up this one once again, so there's no seam visible. The third one, the reflection angle will be 90 degrees, and we will select the right hand number and move that down until there's no line there. And then last but not least, we have the reflection angle for number 4 is going to be minus 90, and we are going to move that up until there is no line there. And I know this looks silly right now, but it's only going to be on screen for a fraction of a second with lots of motion blur, and it allows us to zoom in from a wider shot inwards. So now that all of that has been lined up and we've got no lines here at all, we can add a transform effect. We are nearly finished, I promise. So now we drop and drag transform onto the right hand side, and we're going to do exactly what we did earlier. So click and drag the playhead to the left, select the scale stopwatch to add the keyframes, and this one's going to start at 100, and then we'll scrub along nearly to the end but not quite, and then we will adjust this number so that we are zoomed in fully, and for this instance it's going to be 300%. Let's highlight both of those keyframes, right click, ease in, right click, ease out, select the drop down. This time it's going to be a reflection of the ramp we made earlier, so select this dot here and let's move it to the left this time, all the way to the left. We're going to select this dot here, move that all the way to the left. There we go. And then we can scroll down, uncheck the composition shutter angle button, type in the same number you picked earlier. So we'll go for 180. And now if I press play from here, it should zoom in the first clip and then continue to zoom in the next one. And there we have it. Not bad at all. We can take this one step further and make it look even more professional just by adding another adjustment layer. So just click down, new item, adjustment layer, and click OK. And we can see it's added this one here. Drop and drag that onto the top and make it so it is the full length of both of those adjustment layers. So it should be 30 frames long. Add the Lens Distortion effect. So just type in lens, and then under the distort, it's Lens Distortion. Drop and drag that onto your clip. And now we will add 3 keyframes to this timeline. Make sure the playhead is moved all the way to the left. Click the stopwatch to have it at 0. And we're also going to move it all the way to the right. And then we're going to click the add keyframe button. This is because we're adding a keyframe, but we haven't changed the value, so we have to press this button here. And then move your playhead to be dead in the center of the transition. We're going to change this value to be about minus 50. And what this is doing is it's going to add a curved lens effect, which will be subtle at the beginning. It'll be super curved exactly on the transition point, and then it'll ease out again, and it'll all line up perfectly. It just blends the clips a little bit nicer together and hides the transition a bit. And we can highlight all three of these keyframes. You know the drill by now. Ease in, once again, ease out, drop down on the stopwatch, and we want to make this graph here look like a V shape. So click away from the keyframes so they're not selected. Now we can just do them individually. So click on this one, drag this point to the right, and keeping it nice and straight as possible. I'm going to click on this one and drag this point to the right, nice and pointy. And then we'll do the opposite this side. So drag this one all the way to the left, and then click on this one and drag this one all the way to the left as well. So it's a really pointy V shape. And that just means it has a nice velocity curve to it. So all together, let's give it a watch. There we go. Not bad. So we can just see if I just turn that second adjustment layer on and off. So that's off, this artificial edge we've made, and then having that on just hides it a bit. So once you've done it once, just highlight it, Control C, click somewhere else, Control V, and paste it, and just make sure that line lines up perfectly with your transition. So we can see the end of that clip. There we go. So that is how to make that transition. If you want to do it the reverse way, so we zoom out, it's the exact same thing, but we are just reversing the process. So I will speed run that with you now. So let's add a new adjustment layer, okay. And then let's drop and drag that across over here. Zoom in, cursor exactly on the cut point, hold shift, press the left arrow 3 times, 1, 2, 3. That's 15 frames. And then hold shift and go 1, 2, 3, back to the middle. 1, 2, 3, that's the whole thing. Do a cut down the middle. This left-hand clip wants to be the one that has the tiles, wants to be the one that has the grid. So we just type in replicate, drop and drag replicate on top, change that to 3, add the mirrors, copy and paste the mirrors. So there's 4 of them. Top one, we can just shuffle that across. Next one is 180. Don't worry that it's gone dark. Move that across as well. Bottom one is 90. Line that one up, and then the last one minus 90, and let's get that lined up as well. So the left-hand adjustment layer now has the grid, and we can add the transform effect on top. Form. This time we will have the playhead at the very left, keyframe the scale. Make sure that you are keyframing the scale in the transform tool, not the just normal motion tool, because that's not how it works. It has to be on the transform. So click 100 there. We can drag that keyframe away because that's a 100% keyframe, which is what we want it to be at the end. And then at the beginning, we want it to add another keyframe and zoom in, and it'll be 300 on the dot is what I'm aiming for. I'll just type it in. There we go, nicely fully framed. So it's gonna go from 300 scale to 100, highlight them both, ease in, ease out. This time we want both of these curves to be pulled to the right. There we go. This keyframe can be shuffled about 1 or 2 frames from the left-hand side. The right-hand keyframe wants to be exactly on the cut. So make sure as we zoom out, wants to be exactly on the cut. Scroll down, 180. So it's got that, it will zoom out. And then the right-hand one will just do the transform effect. Add the keyframe and move that across because we know that's 100. Scale can be 300. Ease them, drop down. Move these keyframe points to the left, across the left, far as they'll go. And now we want to make sure that this left-hand keyframe is completely lined up with the edge here. There we go, we have that nice smooth curve. And scroll down, uncheck the composition angle, and type whatever number that you've been going with this whole time. And there we have it, the same effect, but outwards. You can go and grab the adjustment layer from the previous one and just put that on top because that hasn't changed at all. That was completely symmetrical. So this is how it looks as a zoom out effect with the lens distortion as well. So there we go. I hope that helps. You've got the zoom in effect, you've got the zoom out effect. You can copy and paste it as many times as you like. My advice would be is to make this effect and then save it as a Premiere Pro project just named Smooth Zoom. And then if you ever need it and you don't want to make it each time, you can just open up that project, copy and paste it, and bring it into your new project. As always, thank you so much for watching. If there's anything specific you want to learn, just drop it in the comments. If you use After Effects as well as Premiere Pro, consider checking out my After Effects plugin called Quick Draw. It's a super handy panel that has lots of really useful buttons that will save you so much time and hassle if you are an After Effects user. That will be the top line of the description. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.